Hi, I'm Kat, and this is the first time I try to post something with my voice in it. I really hope it doesn't get too much backlash or I'll hide in a hole or something. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about Elio, the movie that nobody watched, but just not about Elio. I wanted to talk about something a bit bigger. This is going to be a spoiler-free video, aside from me exposing the general themes of the movie. The only other thing I'm going to add are various drawings I made of the characters and me doing them. If you don't like that, I'm sorry. Oh, last thing, this video is dedicated to anyone that might struggle to express themselves. Hope you stick around and enjoy. So, I found out about Helio a few days before writing this, but just to be transparent, it was mid-January 2026. I was browsing through Disney Plus with some family and saw it. In the beginning, I was kind of against watching it, simply because when it came out, there had a lot of backlash, at least the way I saw it. I watched a lot of critiques of Disney/Pixar on YouTube, and it made me believe that everything they sent out was kind of uninspired and generally bland. This was the case with Ellie. It came out, I didn't like the style of the images I saw, and I liked it even less after I watched some videos about it. This wasn't just YouTube's fault, however. I was also kind of bummed out by Elemental. It was the latest movie I watched on the platform. I still very much dislike that one. Maybe I'll rewatch it one of these days and tell you what I think in a proper manner. Anyway, we decided to give Elio a chance and I loved it. I loved it very much. I like the story, the characters, and most of all the way Elio is portrayed. The protagonist is kind of a weird kid. He doesn't believe how he's expected to, he doesn't live with the people he's expected to, and he is obsessed with aliens and desperate to find a way to escape his life, which he doesn't really like. It hit home for me. As a kid I felt like that many times. Escapism is a very common coping mechanism. I know we got a lot of weird kid-centered movies lately, but this one still made me feel understood, and I felt it wasn't too similar to its predecessor in portraying this concept. Another thing, there weren't really that many fight scenes or suspense, and even when a character was put at risk, I knew they were going to be okay, so I wasn't worried. And I know this sounds a little underwhelming on paper, but I realized that I honestly like this about the new movies. I like the fact that they're low stakes and confrontational. That's the kind of movie I like and that I personally want a kid to watch. It isn't too convoluted in action, but it still lightly grasps on some important concepts. In this case, family and self-acceptance. I don't really miss big baddies like Scar and Ursula and Jafar. They're one-sided, and I find them kind of dated. Sure, they're cool to see on screen. It's satisfying to see them gloriously defeated in the most mocking and scary ways in the end, and I think they work really well. But I also believe that the beautiful 2D animation and nostalgia contributed a lot into making them into icons. And maybe there's something else too? Anyway, there isn't much more lore to Elio really. Not to me. I don't think it's a genius movie that revolutionized my life, and I won't keep you here to convince you it is. It's just something I genuinely enjoyed. But when I finished the movie, I couldn't help but feel guilty about this. Why? Because the way I saw it, everyone found it mediocre and I didn't. Not only that, but there's also the whole scrapped content thing, in which Ellie was supposed to be more LGBT coded, and the fact that the original director was replaced. And the industry is looking awful right now, always censoring stuff and acting as the whims of the market. I can't like a movie like that, right? Wrong. So there's no need to be so dramatic about this, right? It's just a movie. It's a movie that I happen to watch while eating dinner on the couch. What I think about it doesn't mean anything, but really it does. If we can have a personal, differentiated opinion on things like movies without feeling wrong or guilty, how are we going to develop one about bigger things? If we don't understand what is making us like something instead of something else, do we really know ourselves? Do we really know what we want, what we need? Or are we just pledging to what other people want us to like? Having an opinion on things, even little things, help us become defined individuals. Becoming defined individuals helps us become really independent at our core. So we need to take a look inside and understand why we feel a certain way towards something. At least that's what I think. See, that's the thing. I think we should all start expressing ourselves in ways that leave room for other interpretations, even online. There's no right or wrong opinion, not most of the time, and especially not when it comes to these things. There's no right interpretation of a movie or series or game that's better or worse than the others. I think that as long as you know why you like, dislike, love, or hated at something, as long as you can explain it, as long as you can find the reason to feel that way, then you can and should let yourself feel that way, and you should be free to express it. Just as long as you don't harm anyone or yourself in the process, of course. And with that, I'm not saying you're not allowed to change your mind after looking at things from a different perspective. Just ask yourself why you're changing your mind and what brought you to it. It's a nice self awareness exercise. So, yeah, I do like Ellie. I like it despite its flaws and the sad story behind the original content. In my opinion, the final product still works. It's a nice watch and definitely not the worst Pixar movie of all time. It manages to build a fun world in just an hour and a half, and the characters all stand out, even the ones that look like they're just there for a one-off joke or as background. The ideas that have been portrayed are nicely developed, though not always flawlessly. The characters are likable and their interactions are sweet and sometimes even realistic. I especially love the way Elio interacts with the world around him and the way some scenes are foreshadowed. I also have a firm belief that people that dislike this movie haven't seen it. Not really. So once I burst my bubble about Elliot, I actually found out that a lot of people don't hate the movie. Most people find it good, but not great. Many define it as mediocre, but generally speaking, I've noticed that many people don't really talk about the movie itself when criticizing it. They instead talk about the context of its publication. Finally, we talk about the second word in the title. Thought it was a clickbaiter, didn't you? Not yet. So, bitterness. What is it? What do I mean by that? The first synonym I could find online is anger at disappointment at being treated unfairly. Resentment. Resentment is right, yeah, especially because of all the censorship we talked about earlier, the various AI scandals and the general era of negativity that is haunting the animation industry right now. It's also important to note that this isn't just about political and external factors, it's also about the way the movie itself has been perceived since the beginning. The initial flop immediately brought to light a sentence that I think will forever be associated with this movie. Stop asking for originals if you won't watch them. Now, it's unclear to me whether this has been said by Pixar itself or by some other associated account, but it unfortunately shaped Elio's current identity, and I'm really sorry about that. I think the movie is great. It's a good original, but this reasoning is obviously provocatory and sick. It's almost as if, like many have said, the movie was made as an excuse to never make another original story ever again. Because we didn't like it, because Elliot didn't sell. I believe that there's a strong bias towards the movie, and it's absolutely understandable. It's understandable to feel mocked by these childish statements and behaviors from a literal multi-million-dollar company. But I sincerely believe that you should watch it. Not because it will change your mind, not because you can dislike it if you haven't watched it, but because you can develop a more personalized and complex opinion if you do watch it, whether you like it or hate it afterwards. Don't let bitterness and common belief blind you into thinking in a way that isn't your own. Thank you for watching.